From the east, house of light, may wisdom dawn in us, so we may see all things in clarity. From the north, house of night, may wisdom ripen in us, so we may know all from within. From the west, house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action, so we may do what must be done. From the south, house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest, so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above, house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below, house of earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. From the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. Ayum Hunab Gu Eva Maya E Ma Ho. Ayum Hunab Gu Eva Maya E Ma Ho. Ayum Hunab Gu Eva Maya E Ma Ho. All hail the harmony of mind and nature.
Moving away from the 13-month calendar has been one of the most detrimental things for humanity. Now, I'm going to encourage everyone to go and do your little research on the Gregorian calendar and where it came from, the Julian calendar, where that came from, and then do your research on the 13-month calendar. The 13-month calendar involves 28 days each. And if you know anything about the woman's menstrual cycle, you will know that it is 28 days in length. So ancient populations and groups of people were aligned with natural time. They were looking at the moon cycle. So there were 13 moons in a year. What has happened with the Gregorian calendar is that they have compressed it into 12 months in a year, and they've made these crazy number of days. Sometimes it's 29 days, sometimes it's 28 days, sometimes it's 30 days, sometimes it's 31. That calendar was designed to coincide with the industrial age, agrarian sector, and all sorts of other things that had to do with generating wealth and structuring a society that conforms to the time that they have set. What it means is that we are no longer aligned to natural time, to cosmic time.
It's just different.
I am the world changer, coded by the blue storm. My number is 19, the power of all number. I am the master alchemist, the force behind the philosopher's stone. Skilled at the art of transmutation. I am the catalytic transformer of world consciousness and planetary living. I oversee the changes of the weather. I am the thunder that shatters your world systems. I am the transport of clouds filled with lightning to illuminate the truth behind your illusions. I am the bringer of the drenching rains that purifies, It was I who caused the triple Aztec monuments of the Avatar archetype to appear in the ancient temple grounds. I oversee the morning and the evening stars. I behold the creator of the fifth sun, the present world. Sent forth am I to dwell among you, calling forth the sixth sun. For the great regeneration of the world's soul, to know me is to know your own power of self-generation. To know me is to know your own power of self-generation. Self-generation is power. I am the transport of clouds filled with lightning to illuminate the truth behind your illusions. I am the bringer of the drenching rains that purifies.
Greetings in Lakesh. Welcome to another Sync Talk. This session is entitled The Law of Time and Your Galactic Purpose. This is going to be one of the most impactful sessions that we've had, because anytime we're talking about galactic purpose, we're talking about a bigger purpose beyond our jobs, beyond our businesses, beyond our missions that have been given to us from corporations or some artificial ideal of what we're supposed to do. And so this is a session that you want to definitely, those of you that are on, reach out to other people so they can hear and witness this, because one of the things that I talk about very often is that the calendrical systems that we follow is designed for the advancement of artificial intelligence. And you can look at just how sophisticated and how much is advanced relative to how much human consciousness has advanced. And you can see it pales in comparison. The human consciousness has advanced very little relative to the great advancements in evolution of artificial intelligence. Why is that so? Because our energy has been redirected into a limited version of ourselves. And so as we come out of the amnesia of that experience, we now are in a position to effectuate the kind of change that helps us evolve and practice self-governance and put ourselves in the esteemed position to advance ourselves in the human technology as it relates to absolute intelligence. So this is going to be an incredible session. Some of the language that I use, you may or may not understand. So we're going to take some questions at the end and also put my email in place for you to be able to share those questions with me via email. So let's go on and get into our session today. Who are we? We are a progressive group of cosmic beings that are highly intelligent, intuitive, telepathic, and laser beam focused on evolving throughout the journey of remembrance. What does that mean? Journey of remembrance. That we've been in a state of amnesia for so long, we don't realize that we are a sleeping giant, that we've been operating through programs in our subconscious mind for so long, we don't really realize that we're still asleep. And so what happens is now, as we open up and we advance ourselves, we realize what we can do with the human technology in the human body. But we have to have a grander ideal of who we are. And so that takes remembrance. That takes putting us back together as the full ideology and the full cosmology and the full expressions of the creator and how the creator expresses itself through a sentient being such as us. Okay, so laser beam focus on evolving out the journey of remembrance to fulfill our galactic purpose. So when you, it's implied when you put the word galactic purpose, that it's a purpose beyond you, it's a purpose beyond the planet. And so therefore you were sent here for a mission that's bigger than you may know. And once you realize that they don't give people big missions unless they got big capabilities, unless they got large callings, unless they have the ability to fulfill large shoes and solve large problems. They don't give people 100+ million years of memory to walk around in a body and not be, what kind of entity walks around in a body with over 100 million years of memory only to use 100 years of it or less? Because we've subscribed to AI. We've subscribed to Chat GPT as the God versus our own consciousness and intuition. I'm telling you that we need to see and tap into our own consciousness and intuition and human technology and see how AI aligns or misaligns with that before we move forward in any of our endeavors. So this is going to be one of those sessions that could change your life. Whether you study with us on a regular basis or you're new to this conversation, I want you to pay perfect and close attention, because the more attention that you pay to what I'm saying, the more effective you're going to be with integrating these concepts into your day-to-day life and winning like you never won before. We have an online school based in Atlanta, Georgia, founded in 2023, and we accept students all over. All right, currently we're offering 12 courses, and really what we talk about in our courses is the law of time and its relationship to nature. Watch this, and we give you through cosmic cycles how this relationship works on our behalf and not our behalf. Our behold, we're being whole with nature. We're being whole with the earth. We're being whole with the galaxy because we're already connected energetically. We also focus on whole mind concepts that improve our self-image. So it doesn't matter what vision you have if you don't see that you can fulfill the vision. That if you have the vision, you have the capabilities to manifest the vision. And that comes from self-image and self-esteem. And we have some economic initiatives that's coming up this year in 2025. This summer is going to be powerful. And so we want you to participate based on this cosmology. All right. So that's kind of who we are. Who am I? Well, my name is Neb Taharka Kanishkawak, and I am the founder and chancellor and one of the master teachers at the Synchronistic Human School of Enlightenment. And we've done a lot of great work. Well, we've just completed our 21st consecutive semester at not just at the school, but consecutively through 2 other schools and the school. We also have completed over 1,200, me personally, 1,200 one-on-one coaching sessions. We call it one-on-one synchronicity coaching sessions. And since February of 2020, so over the last 5 years. So in that process, we have figured out how to integrate these concepts that are 4th dimensional in their own right, meaning we're seeing from the perspective of nature and not technology, right? Nature and not technology. And so that has given us life and a path of evolution and enlightenment. All right, the power of an evolved consciousness. Here's what I want you to know. If you correct your mind, knowing that your brain and your mind are 2 different things. Your brain is the hardware, your mind is the software. So your brain can process consciousness, which is the mind, and the mind is infinitely locatable throughout the entire cosmos. What does that mean? That means that your brain, as it remembers itself, it put itself back together as a very strong instrument of synchronicity. It can remember beyond the planet and the galaxy and eons from here, as we strengthen its capabilities. So if you correct your mind, the rest of your life will fall into place. All right. Now, I want to talk to you about time. Now, time up until this point, before I started this cosmology, you know, I was a business person. I had a consulting firm, IMG Consulting, and at the time I helped people get government contracts. And I said, man, I can really help a lot of small businesses, women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses. And I said, man, this is incredible, right? And so shortly after that, I got introduced to this cosmology. And back then, I operated on a 12-month calendar. I set my goals on a 12-month calendar, and I had no idea what I'm about to share with you. But what happened is I thought that time was the expression of a mechanical or digital clock or watch. I thought time was part of the calendar that I had been programmed to follow for all these years. And so when I was shown that that's not what time is from the fourth dimensional perspective, I had a decision to make. Do I want to master artificiality, or do I want to master the synchronicities and the power of my evolutionary self? So you can see, based on where I am now and 9 years ago, that I chose to master the power of synchronicity and my evolved self. So now let's talk about time for a second. Time is a frequency, and I want you to know that frequency, your frequency, is your currency, not cryptocurrency. Your frequency, and the currency is your circumstances that your frequency attracts. The frequency of true time is a 1320 frequency, 13 moons and 20 fingers and toes. So that means the moon has 13 cycles that are approximately 28 days each, right? The frequency of false time, watch this, you need to know this, because many of us are celebrating false time, and we're celebrating our inability to evolve. We're celebrating being mentally incarcerated into an artificial matrix that's not designed for us to be inspired, but for us to expire. And so the frequency of false time is 1260, the 12-month calendar, and the 60-minute clock, or I like to call it the consciousness lock. 1260 time is false. Why? Because it limits the mind and consequent lifestyle of the third dimension. And the third dimension is of what? The artificial matrix. 1320 time is true because it liberates the mind and consequent lifestyle into the fourth dimension. What is that? While the third dimension is physical and knowable to the senses, watch this, the fourth dimension is telepathic and knowable to the whole mind, the cosmic mind, the universal mind, the galactic mind, which expands it past your body and the planet and beyond this galaxy. I want you to let that sink in. So what do you want to study? Do you want to master the artificial time? It's false time. It brings a circumstantial persona, a persona based on your circumstances, so that you can live a limited version of yourself? Or do you want to explore the power of synchronicity and the telepathic and knowable mind of this age? That's a decision that you want to make before you go any further with this. And if your decision was like mine, continue to listen forward. Because to correct false time, we got to go all the way back to 1582 when they started this calendar, the Gregorian calendar. This is what it looked like, right? You look at on the 4th, which was a Thursday, right? And what they did is they skipped the next 10 days. So everybody started on the 4th, and then on Friday, Thursday the 4th, and then Friday everybody woke up, it was the 15th. What happened to consciousness of those 10 days that were skipped? Nothing. Now let's talk about what happened to us our energy got redirected to exploring the new world, which dealt in colonization and slavery. And now fast forward 442 years later, what state is our consciousness? What is the state of your consciousness? And so this perpetuated whatever consciousness was redirected from, whatever consciousness was skipped, is now a splinter in our mind and a limiting factor of the human psyche and how its ability is to evolve. That's what them 10 days did. They did that to correct the errors of the Julian calendar as it relates to leap years. But how did it affect your consciousness? That's what you got to study. I'm not going to tell you all the answers because you have to seek for yourself as a form of self-mastery. You have to see what happened to your consciousness from October 1582, the 4th through the 15th. What happened to your consciousness? Well, it devolved into a machine, and you've been being built as a machine for 442 years. And that's why we are subscribers to the artificial matrix and the programs that run our personality, that run our age, that run when we die, that run our ideal of immortality, that run our ideal of abundance, reducing abundance to money. All of that has taken place over these times. Your mind hasn't evolved in 442 years. Now, the question that I asked myself, because it happened to me too, what do I need to do to fix it? Is anybody besides me upset enough to say, what do I need to do to fix the error in time so I can fix my mind? And it's to you that I'm talking to right now. It's only going to be a handful of you because most people are watching on the sidelines. Let me see what happens to them. I don't know. And so you got to correct this for yourself. This isn't something that somebody can do for yourself. This ain't something you can sit under some auroras and change your DNA because the program that you on will just change it back. You got to end it once and for all. So now we in 2025, and this calendar, the first step to your evolution, watch this, is for you to say that I have to say that this calendar that I'm looking at is obsolete. It's for the advancement of artificial intelligence. It's not for the advancement of human intelligence. And when you say that, that is an evolutionary statement that you just made. Now, I'm not going to leave you with a void and take that from you without replacing it with something greater. You see, now that we're removing this calendar that we're so attached to on New Year's, this calendar that we're attached to on Christmas, this calendar that we're attached to on Halloween and Thanksgiving, this calendar that we're attached to on your birthday, this calendar that we're attached to on the 4th of July, this calendar that we're attached to on Easter, Passover, and all of these dates are programs to put your mind in a submission hold to have an allegiance to this artificiality. Now that has its place, but its place is not for your evolution. It's not. And so that's one of the biggest steps is to say, and it's going to be some cognitive dissonance because we don't want to let go of what that calendar holds. But they changed it 442 years ago from the Julian to this calendar. They changed it from the calendar back then to the Julian calendar, and it's going to change again because the human psyche is evolving. Okay, and so you can see that we are in The month of, well, we're in April, actually. We're on April the 2nd, and we're on the moon 9, the solar moon. Okay, so that's where we are. So you can see one has consistent days and weeks, and it's like this every year. It doesn't change. And then you have this one on the left that's inconsistent days and weeks. It changes every year, and they have 12 irregular months, like 12 irregular menstruation cycles, from the female avatar trying to cram and track her cycles, her 13 cycles in a male cosmology and calendrical system of 12. I think that's one of the contributing factors to some of the challenges that are being experienced from the female avatar, like fibroids and things like that, trying to cram 13 cycles into 12. All right. So we are we have an opportunity now to do something different. And all you got to do is ask yourself, how well has that worked for you? I had to ask myself, what would happen if I changed it? What would happen? Would I just dissolve in thin air? What would happen? So I said, there's only one way to find out. Let's see. Let me start following these 13 moons. Let me see if I get more energy. Let me see if I get more downloads. Let me see if I get more instructions about evolving. Let me see if I become more telepathic. And that's exactly what happened over these 9 years. And that's why I'm sharing it with you, because it is time for you to release the stronghold on your mind from artificial calendrical systems and artificial technologies. And there's more. They're bombarding us with it. They're bombarding our children with it. And how do we get free? We have to follow natural time. We have to follow cosmic order. And these are the beginning steps to doing so. All right. So we're moving from the information age into the telepathic age of our experience. That's what we're doing. And so what is the solution? Well, here's the thing you want to know. Whoever owns your time owns your mind. So now the question that I have for you who are watching and listening, and some of you more intently than others, is it valuable and does it make sense to change your concept of time so you can evolve? Because if you change your time and you change your mind, that means your mind is the consciousness that's controlling your behavior, and your behavior is attracting your circumstances. The frequency of your behavior is attracting your circumstances. That's why frequency is the current circumstances. Change your mind, and now you can change what you experience in your world. And so now we are synchronizing cosmic cycles in our mind so we can evolve in this kind of way. Do you get the concept? You see, you have to get the concept before you can be effective with its implementation. You don't just blink your eyes twice and intuit this, and then now all of a sudden you cosmic and you got power over the artificial matrix. You got to integrate these concepts so that your frequency is too high for artificial intelligence and these governmental entities. They need to govern your mental. Your frequency is too high for them to do that. And so you're not on their radar any longer. All right. So one of the calendars that we use, the first calendar, I want you to write this down, is a 260-day calendar. It's the Tzolk'in spiritual calendar of cosmic memory. These, you can see the X, so we call this the double helix. We also call it the galactic DNA. These green areas are portals, and they're portal days. And I'll get into it another time what portals, where the portals go, because the question I have for myself, and some of you may have, is where do they go? So portals into what? Portals into your cosmic memory. Where has your soul been? Where has your consciousness been? Where is it now? And where is it going? Where is it going? So when I looked at this, I said, what is the purpose of this? The purpose is to complete the interaction of all the 260 here. And let me give you another name for that. All the 260 expressions of the creator. And what are those? What's the purpose of those expressions? The purpose of those expressions is to create impressions of evolution. Y'all ain't hearing me. Y'all See, we live in a microwave society, so you may not have the time to listen to me right now because you distracted. But if you can get undistracted, I'm gonna say it again, that the 260 expressions, the purpose is to make an impression on you on how to evolve your consciousness from where it is now for where you are remembering yourself to be, and move into the next stage of remembrance in galactic knowing. That's the purpose. Now, why 260 days and where does it come from? Let me tell you something. It's 260 days because 260 days is what we call the gestation period of the human. It's from start, right, when you were conceived to when you were born into this reality. That's the significance of the 260 days. Do you know that we've been running on a program that makes the Earth's cycle around the sun, 365 days, more significant than your cycle of evolution of 260 days or 261 or 258, however many days it took from inception to incarnation? That period of consciousness going from invisible to physical is a very significant orbit, and it holds the intelligence and the secrecy of your evolution. And when you realize that and you start going through these kin and these expressions, you start to remember what you knew prior to you coming into this physical form. And that's why we follow the 260-day calendar. So now that we're getting this, let me give you something else. This is from Olmec and Mayan cosmology. Now, let me tell you something. I always like to, as I present the benefits, the conflicts, because it's not the hardest punch that knocks you out. It's the one you don't see coming. So I'm going to have you prepared for the conflicts. The 13 moon calendar, right? Paula Herdock was talking about Herlock. It's programming now versus synchronicity. What is the program? Things you're comfortable with, right? Your personality is a culmination of past experiences and how you respond to them. And so now you got to follow this invisible thing called synchronicity. What is that? Right? I'm going to go over that in a moment. Right? The law of time, the Tzolk'in calendar, the 260-day calendar, right? It consists of 13 cosmic tones and 20 archetypes. 13 times 20 is 200 expressions, 260 expressions of the creator. So what does this bring about? The fourth dimensional nature and the power of synchronicity and how it's working on your behold. We call that the law of time. That energy factored by time is art, is what we create. It's not time is money. See, time and money is the artificial matrix. It's of false time. Because money is an illusion. It's a consciousness, but it's an illusion. It's a reflection of your own spirituality. Right? So the conflict that is created, that you're going to have to get over, that's going to move you into abundance, is consumerism of the 3D versus your creativity. So we're on a consumerism program through scarcity. And scarcity is a program, so it causes us to consume, right, versus evolve and create. Right? So how do you know you're a consumer? If you consume more than you create, then you're a consumer. If you create more than you consume, then you're a creator. Look at that. Right? So now when you know the conflicts and you know how the expressions create the impressions for you to evolve, now it's just all about you going through the necessary steps, just like anything else. On the job training, like your job, like on your job, what do you do? Well, you got what? 2 weeks of on the job training usually. And you sit with somebody who's experienced, right? You also go through an orientation period, right, at your job. Then you sit with somebody for 2 weeks, maybe longer, and you get trained on the what? The system. And that's how you know how to work it. What's the same with this? Once you know the concept, now you start just practicing that on a daily basis and observing your behavior and your evolutionary abilities and capabilities. And then now you can see the value in it. But it's hard to see the value in it before that. because we're trying to see, okay, how is this going to make me different? And what am I going to miss out on? Well, you're going to miss out. What you're going to miss out on is very little compared to what you're going to gain by evolving. That's why I always say evolution is the solution. All right. So in that, so let's back up. So when we talk about this calendar here, it consists of 20 cycles of 13. So these 20 cycles of 13, right, are called wave spells. And a wave spell is also a creation format that is also called a cycle of evolution. So these 13 tones support the creation format. Look at this. For all energy that evolves into matter and matters. You didn't hear me. Let me say, this is how thoughts turns into things on a cosmic level. So you can't just put this aside like it's not significant. The 13 stages of motion is a creation format for all energy that evolves into matter and matters. This is the power of manifestation. So this Friday, we start on the 10th moon, the power of manifestation. Where is your consciousness going to be when that takes place? And if manifesting is an option versus stagnation, how could you ever pick stagnation? Knowing that manifestation and materialization is available. I want you to look at this. Watch this. You just a few steps away from something big about to happen beyond your understanding. All right. So these 13 tones are also, there's 13 joints in the body, right? We start over here on the left side at the ankle, the knee, the hip, then we go to the wrist, then we go to the elbow, then we go to the shoulder, then we go to the neck, then we go to the other shoulder, right? Then we go to the elbow, the wrist, the hip, and then we go down to the knee and down to the left, right ankle. So we can find everything that I talk about. Watch this. You can find in the body. That's how you know it's real and it's not a pseudoscience, because everything that I talk about in the cosmology, I can show you where it is in your body. Now it's up to you to take it and evolve it. That's what's exciting to know. Right? So now what happens is now we start getting into the ideal of synchronizing the 13 moons, which is a 364-day cycle plus 1 day at a time, and the 260-day cycle. And when we do that, our whole mind opens up so we can access the mind beyond the planet and the galaxy. And this is how we become more telepathic and more intelligent so that we can practice self-governance on the earth and fulfill our purpose. That's the consciousness and the technology that we're missing. And these type of individuals, they don't fall into the category of slaves. They don't fall into category of people who are colonized. They don't fall into the category of people who are governing their mental. They are here on an assignment. And as we are able to see this for ourselves, we know that we came here with a galactic purpose on this planet. And so therefore, we must be a very significant part of the unfolding of this evolutionary trajectory. Now, let's get real into it. So now everybody has access to a calendar like this. We're in the solar moon. We call it the Jaguar moon. Look at what every moon has. I want you to watch this. Every moon has a question for you to answer. And this is how I've evolved over the last 9 years. All I did was answer the question. Here's what it says. It says, how do I attain my purpose? Some of you are saying, well, I don't know my purpose. Well, then your next step is to sit down and have a conversation and let's talk about it and find it out. And once you find it out, ask the question again on day 2, and then day 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, and then go to 8 through 14, 15 through 21, and now we're on 22 through 27. How can I attain my purpose? And if you ask yourself that 27 times, you're going to be better than you were the first time or the 10th time or the 14th time that you asked yourself that. And so when you ask your brain questions, you've empowered the brain to what? Come up with answers. The quest that I'm on is, when I ask that question and I get the answer, can I carry out its instructions? This is how you now build character. This is how you overcome challenges and adversity. You see? And so this is where we are in the process. How do I attain my purpose? And so now some of you are going to sit with this and you're going to get some answers. Okay? Now, don't doubt it when you get the answer. This is how I attain my purpose. And so you need to start setting up shop on what to do. What you were shown. Now, people are afraid of their intuition, but this is intuition. Prayer is when we speak to God, the God in us. Intuition is when God speaks to us. And so if you remember that, and you know the power of God in you is speaking to you, how can you fail? The power of God sees something in your immediate future that you are unable to see with your plain eyes, but God in you will make it clear so you can accomplish your mission. All right, so each of these you see up here where it says Dolly, Celi, Gamma, Kali, Alpha, Limi, Celio, these are what's called radioplasmas, and they also not only are they gates to higher consciousness, they also are the names of the 7 chakras in the corpus callosum and in the brain. And these 7 chakras in the brain connect with the 7 in the spine, right, in a very orderly manner. And it opens up our mind to the thinking layers of the cosmos. Those thinking layers downloads data into the mind through plasma. And that plasma is in the corpus callosum. The plasma now descends through the cerebrospinal fluid and ends up in the heart. The plasma in the heart now is pumped in what? The blood. And this is how the body syncs up with the mind, with the new ideals from the unmanifest. And so you, as a human, a sentient being, the power that you have is to manifest on the gravitational plane. You can receive through your imagination orders and ordinances and ideas from the unmanifest for you, the sentient being, to manifest. And everybody has the power to do that. Once you realize that, now you have shifted from time is money to time is art. Very powerful. So you can see right now we're on the 9th kin. We just started the 260 expressions over. And so each of these radioplasmas have a name and an energy. The Dolly brings the thermic force. Celi is connected to the Dolly is connected to the crown chakra. Celi is connected to the root chakra, right? And it brings the luminant force, right? Gamma is the balance of the two and opens the third eye, right? Kali deals with ecstatic dissension, and it deals with the creative center and the kundalini energy, the sacral chakra. Alpha deals with what? The throat chakra. And it releases the double extended electron so that you speak life through electricity into your creation. Limi is the mental electron that causes you to focus through the solar plexus chakra. And Celio is the discharge of the mental electric electron neutron to what? To clear the heart of any judgment. And it's the heart that changes the mind. That's why they say, as a man, as a woman thinketh in his or her heart, then so is she. Then so is he. So here's the science Here's the science behind how that works. And the more you practice it, the better you get at it. The better you get at it, the more you evolve. The more you evolve, the more you're God over your circumstances. The more you God over your circumstances, you don't let anything mess with your head and your thought process. And you gain more confidence, more self-esteem. And you know you're here for a larger region than just to travel the world. You know you're here for a larger region than to make $1 billion. And as that comes clear for you, it brings you infinite peace and enlightenment beyond words. Some of y'all are getting this. Some of y'all gonna get this, but I'm telling you, as you get this, I can feel, can you feel the power? I can feel just the power in speaking about it. So here you go. The day you were born on the 13 moon calendar is coded by what? Your galactic signature. That's your galactic passport on how you get into higher consciousness. Your galactic signature is one of the 260 possibilities or kin that's encoded in the Zolkin. I just showed you that harmonic module. Why is it harmonic? Because harmony, right, creates integrity. And if it's integrity with no harmony, right, then it's harm and no money, right? By playing the role of your galactic signature, you allow yourself. Does it say you force yourself? No. Does it say let somebody control yourself? No, because yourself is the power of God in you. By playing the role of your galactic signature, you allow yourself, your mind, your body, and spirit to vibrate at a frequency, to that particular frequency, and you broadcast it out to everyone and everything around you to return a spiritual and physical equivalency in the material plane. This is your gift to the world. And those of you that don't know this, you just need to know your birth date. And then we'll give you your galactic signature and start to teach you how it's there to show you how to evolve in many different facets. Whew. All right. So today is kid number 9. Let's go through the affirmation. So the signature, the galactic signature for kid 9, if you were kid 9, if you were born on your birthday on kid 9, the red solar moon, here's what the galactic signature, we call it the declaration of incarnation is. It states, I pulse in order to purify. Now that's different from Wednesday, right? Just listen to it. I pulse in order to purify. And they're talking about a purified heart. Realizing the flow of energy, abundant energy. I seal the process of universal water for the cleansing with the solar tone of intention. I am guided by the power of life force. And with life force comes the instincts of the serpent. The serpent don't have any legs, can't sense or smell, taste, touch. It just knows energy and it survives. I pulse in order to purify, realizing flow. I seal the process of universal water with the solar tone of intention. I am guided by the power of life force. One more time to lock it in and make it affirmative. I pulse in order to purify. Realizing flow. I seal the process of universal water with the solar tone of intention. I am guided by the power of life force. And every time I recite a galactic signature, each plasma, each day, I am invoking the remembrance of the totality of God in the body. And this remembrance is what helps me to access higher states of consciousness. It's like a lion that forgot it was a lion and it's in a circus getting treated like a putty cat. And then something invokes the memory and says, wait a minute, I'm a lion and I will eat you. I eat people. Wait a minute, I'm a God in a body and I'm realizing my etheric self in a physical body so that the face of God and the power of God can be shown on the physical material plane. So every time you say a galactic signature, your cosmic memory starts to unfold and you come further out of amnesia on the 10th, on the 20th, on the 50th, on the 100th, on the 150th kin and expression, on the 200th, on the 230th, on the 260th. Now you have had a full galactic spin and a full spin of remembrance to help you quantum leap into your evolution. But you got to do it every day to trigger your memory. And some people are afraid of their own memory. I'm afraid of staying in the artificial matrix and not evolving. I'm not afraid of remembrance. And once you do that, watch out, everybody. It's about to be changed. Look at what it says about the archetype, the moon, which is the healer. It says, I am the healer. How many of you need healing? I have a condition right now that requires healing that shows God's face. And so I read this with passion. And it says, I am the healer, coded by the red moon. The power of time, evolution of consciousness, destiny, and the cycles of life. From the living waters, I merge the universal flow, purifying all within my sacred stream, purifying all within my sacred stream and lifting the vibration of every nature kingdom. We got the power to do that. I am the harmony of wholeness and the regeneration of life. I am fluid and flowing at one with the phases of the moon. I am the queen of life nurturing water. I am the rain and the stream as it flows, feeding the plants and the flowering herbs. In my sacred stream lies the kinship of all. I am crowned by the restorative splendor of leaves, roots, seeds, and flowers, the supremacy of the divine mind. To know me and my endless powers of healing is to cast aside all doubt and enter the stream of the faithful ones. You got to have faith, belief, and then knowing that your faith, belief, and knowing will be rewarded as the healer that you are, and everybody has a healer in them. The law of time states that energy factored by time is equals art. In this equation, E refers to all phenomena and their processes of unfoldment. T is the present moment functioning according to the ratio of 1320 natural time. Everything is shaped by time. The evolution of consciousness is art, what you create in this reality. And just think about it. What am I? How am I evolving consciousness to create? What did I create today? What happened in my creation cycle today? Where am I in my creation format? What did I create that's going to change the world? What am I going to create that's going to awaken humanity? What am I going to create that's going to repair and help the earth heal from the damage of artificial intelligence and humans with no regards to our planet? We have the power to do that. The law of time is based on three premises. Watch this. Time is the universal frequency of synchronization. I'm going to repeat that. Time is the universal frequency. That means part of universal law of synchronization, mathematically expressed as the ratio 1320. From this is derived the harmony of the synchronic order, expressed as the formulation T times E equals art. Energy factored by time equals art. The synchronic order is the actual nature to nurture our reality in which all is an absolute term, y'all. Phenomena are in synchronicity with each other. 2, the second premise. In the 1320 frequency, the 1320 frequency distinguishes universal natural time from artificial time of the earth, the present earth civilization. Pay close attention to this part. Expressed in the ratio of 1260, irregular 12-month calendar, and the mechanistic 60-minute hour. in time, and intimidation comes in times and in dates. Some of y'all gonna catch that later. According to the law of time, the means to resolve the aberration of artificial time and its deviance from the universal order of reality is the 13-moon, 28-day calendar. That's premise 2. Premise number 3, the velocity of time is instantaneously infinite, faster than the speed of light and sound put together. The speed of light is said to be 299 million kilometers per second. This means that time is faster than the speed of light and is the means of higher mental communication, which is telepathy. See, this is talking about the law of time and your galactic purpose. So you got to put them together, because without the law of time, it's hard to access and fulfill your galactic purpose. Synchronicity refers to the underlying cosmic intelligence. Now, if I'm talking about the underlying cosmic intelligence, isn't that something that you want working in your favor, or do you want it working against you? It's a whole cosmos now, right? Underlying cosmic intelligence that synchronizes people, places, and events into a meaningful order. We experience synchronicity when an outer event corresponds to our inner thoughts. And our inner thoughts corresponds to our outer circumstances. And the one that decides that is our consciousness, our thought process. Synchronicity operates on a higher moving template of mathematical order that coordinates all, another absolute term, phenomena telepathically. This creates the fourth dimensional reality, the synchronic order. The fundamental cycles of the synchronic order come in various forms. We ain't gonna get too much into that right now, but that's why you need to tap into the school and the new kin orientation facilitated by our very own moon goddess Ambrosia, who is the fifth force oracle reader for our time. And it should be a female avatar, because we have to learn the 13 cycles to enhance the creativity of the female so the male can reach a higher plane of mind. All right, that's going to be tomorrow, Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can click on the link, you can message me, say I want to be in on that, and we'll make sure that you get access so that you could get more familiar with your galactic signature and purpose on this planet. Also, we start our spring term on April 11th. So those of you that knew, you could start with the LOT basics, the natural time, or you can tap into the HMP, the Hollow Mind Perceiver, the Whole Mind course on the synchronic order, right? The introductory level. And as you move up the chain, you now can go to higher levels. You got to start at the first level to get to the second and the third, and so on and so on. Then we even have a business development skills according to the cosmology to help you advance beyond this system. Okay, so very, very important. So tap into that, take a screenshot of that. Also, this Sunday, we're going to be talking about enduring evolution in the new time. You have to endure evolution because it's going to take you through some shifts and some changes. So there's a perk side, and then there's a side that you got to go through some changes with. So join us on this Sunday. It's going to be powerful. So make sure you're on our mailing list. Make sure you're on this, because these sessions are very, very powerful. And they come with an assignment so that over the next 7 Earth rotations, you can change your life. All right. And next Wednesday, we will have the Hollow Mind Perceiver and the Telepathic Remembrance session on Synchronistic Talk. It's going to be powerful. You don't want to miss it, because it's going to introduce us to the telepathic communication medium and how to tap in through the synchronic order. Very, very powerful. So I want to end our session with our declaration of evolution. So those of you that feel comfortable, I'm going to state this statement. I say your name, and you're going to say your name. I'm going to say my name. and hereby declare that I will, and we're going to go through each bullet. Let's do it. I say your name, Neb Taharka, hereby declare that I will make evolution my number one priority. I say your name, Neb Taharka, hereby declare that I will clear any karma associated with my existence once revealed. I say your name, Neb Taharka, hereby declare that I will discover, carry out, and become my purpose. I say your name, Neb Taharka, hereby declare that I will remove any judgments that I have of myself and others. I say your name, Neb Taharka, hereby declare will look for and remove any spiritual blockages or misalignments. I say your name, Neb Taharka, hereby declare that I will end any cycles that do not support my evolutionary process. I say your name, Neb Taharka, hereby declare that I will show compassion for all beings and all other species on the planet. I say your name, Neb Taharka, hereby declare that I will be patient with my process and others going through their processes as well. I say your name, Neb Taharka, hereby declare that I will be disciplined and focused when things get challenging, and make no bones about it, things will get challenging. I say your name, Neb Taharka, hereby declare that I will listen to my intuition and carry out its instructions when received. I say your name, Neb Taharka, hereby declare that I will ultimately strive for self-mastery. Ashe, Ashe, and Asheo, and so it is. Look at the power in that declaration, and the power every time you evolve that you have over your circumstances versus your circumstances having power over you. In closing out, I pulse in order to purify, realizing flow. I seal the process of universal water with the solar tone of intention. I am guided by the power of the galactic life force, the life force of the galaxy. On behalf of the Synchronistic Human School of Enlightenment and all of its students and all of you who decided to attend, I want to thank you for joining us on today. And I tell you something, I like to say in closing, in Lakesh, which means that I am another you, and Alakim means you are another me. Hotep, Hetepu, and Namaste. And remember and never forget, evolution is the solution. Enjoy your creation. Peace.
Swimming through the waves of truth and lies, seeking the patience to be still and ride the ebbs and flows away inside, carrying me through the womb. I lie awake but sleep. I lie awake but sleep. That's why I'm starting to figure out how to change my ways, starting to figure out how to spend my day, create the frequency that I seek to live in. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Focus on the body, mind, heart, and soul. Raising my vibrations everywhere I go. No, I'm not the body or the mind, I'm soul. I am the creator, navigating every part of my mind, seeking to impress the shadows in my mind, knowing all is mental and it's all divine. Everything's connected, everything's aligned. The words of my creation, it was all designed to realign. I really need to free our mind and notice every second we were all assigned to reach a better understanding in our time. Said I'm starting to figure out how to change my ways, starting to figure out how to spend my days, create the frequency that I seek to live in. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Focus on the body, mind, heart, and soul. Raising my vibrations everywhere I go. No, I'm not the body or the mind, I'm soul. Spiritual warfare going on. deeper I go. Drowning my thoughts and in my pencils with my eyes closed. That's when I know the scars that I grow can only keep on getting bigger as the time flows. So I gotta seek and counsel in the most that I know to help me fight the enemy that wants to stop the growth. Yeah, these scars are made by me, igniting naturally in this realm. I can be anything I wanna be. Through the most high, I will reach the highest frequency. So I gotta pick my feet. The time is now. Start to figure out how to change my ways. Start to figure out how to spend my days. Create the frequency that I see to live in. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. Focus on the body, mind, heart, and soul. Raising my vibrations everywhere I go. No, I'm not the body, you're the one I'm soul. Said I'm starting to figure out how to change my ways. Starting to figure out how to spend my days. Create the frequency that I seek to live in. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. Starting to figure out how to change the pain. And all the sunshine in and erase the rain. In any situations, I'm lost again. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. An eternal soul wandering in the realm of the physical nature as you take birth again and again in search of true happiness and peace. This is the origin of duality in a world of time-space. The ego is like a blanket of dust which has settled on a piece of glass and obstructs the light from passing through. But the soul is in reality pure, which is the truest and highest frequency.